even though they may say that they have actually set up the assistant registrar in all the consulates, but through our own survey, they still do not know who is the assistant registrar. They don't have the procedures. They actually ask you to take the form and go back to Malaysia to vote. So there is all these discrepancies that has to be sorted out. The implementation of indelible ink, because up to today, we do not know what are the security issues that are being resolved by using biometrics. The whole process of the use of biometric is still not very clear. And we are very worried because it can be open to abuse. The minimum campaign period to be 21 days and to also do a thorough investigation into vote buying allegations, and also the legal and administrative measures to stop via legal or policy reforms, yeah, and to better so that we can have a better enforcement of the laws. So okay, the second report is the long-term kind of reform. It includes a study into the last constituency delineation, reform party and electoral finance, enactment of Administrative Neutrality and Caretaker Government Act, restoration of the local council election, right of elected representatives to recontest, introduce a referendum to actually encourage more democratic way of making decision, review the election petition, review the election offences, because we feel that it hasn't really taken into consideration some of the offences that have been made, and the penalties are very minor. The other one is actually we are still pushing for a Royal Commission of Inquiry, which is made up of independent people to actually review the whole electoral reforms.
We always take the Prime Minister's words seriously. Last time when he said stadium, we take it seriously. This time, so do we. And so we lay down exactly what we mean, and we do not expect the Prime Minister come back later and say, you know, the select committee is not what you think. I mean something else. So we lay down it very clearly, and believe the public actually would not have much appetite for any delay, you know, any tactic to distract. So this is what we have laid out. We want 2 reports. One, to be implemented, to be released after 3 months after the operations of the PSC, and so that the implementation can be done before the next elections, whether general or state elections. And next, the report to be released between a year after its operation, and to be carried out, the second report to be carried out between a year after the report. So we basically give them up to 2 years for long-term reforms. And we say that all these things can come, you know, you should actually place it after the budget session, so that it can be, the committee can be formed immediately after and can start operations after the parliamentary sessions ends. We cannot understand why the Deputy Prime Minister seems to always have contradiction with his boss. That's the problem that Putrajaya needs to deal with. But for us, it's very simple. If you insist that you don't have any disease, then what's the point of going to see the doctor? Right? It's very straightforward. The Prime Minister, by making this offer, I mean, again, we take his words seriously, indicates that he believes there's something wrong with the system, at least that the system at its run now cannot meet the public expectation. It does not enjoy public confidence. And we welcome the Prime Minister's move for a review on that system, and these are the things we list out that we believe that the Malaysian public want to see reform. Now, it would be the Deputy Prime Minister's problem if he cannot share the same vision with his boss. For democracy to be operational, to be meaningful, you need full media freedom. And we certainly welcome this move. In our demand, we specify what the minimum needs to be done during elections. But we always support the civil society demand for another select committee. This was a demand that was raised as early as 2006 that a select committee on media law reforms, we do not lump it together because That's another issue that a lot of details we need to, but in principle we support that call. We are happy that the Prime Minister is waking up to the fact that this is the age of globalization. It's impossible for you to cover up things, to close your eyes, to cover your ears as if then that means that nothing happened.
And they actually come up with this parliamentary select committee. We also, just to answer that question, is really we are hoping that the composition of the people will actually be a more balanced composition, because it has to be members of parliament, but we are hoping that it will also cover Pakatan Rakyat people as well as the BN, and to actually have a more fair representation there.
I would like to clarify some of the misinformation produced by the EC itself.
Yeah.
Now, the EC likes to claim and say when you have names of deceased voters, they claim that it's because the NRD has not updated this. Now, with what have been shown in the past 2 weeks, you can see clearly a lot of times the problem is not with NRD. There's some part NRD is actually clear. There are certainly that we would not rule out cases where certain people may have died and their death was not reported to the NRD. But there are many cases that the death was actually reported. Now, the clear case with the Shah Alam, where PAS actually find out there's about 50 voters whose name have been confirmed as dead on the NRD list, and it's not clear, it's not deleted from the EC rolls. So the EC cannot push all the blames on that. So on that part, we have to be clear. On the other part, when we talk about the public concerns that whether foreigners are enfranchised, now that's the problem with the NRD. It's actually not with the EC directly, because the first point of call, if you don't get it done, then if you actually get instant IC and so on, that's the problem with NRD. NRD is committing, if NRD has done such thing, NRD would have been effectively committing treason, because they are selling off Malaysian citizen right as like anything you can get from Pasar Malam.